Hey everybody, I'm ZombieJohnny. Today, we're going to be taking a look at social distance drinking, yeah! We're going to be taking a look at one of my most beloved video game franchises of all time. This is Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid, the graphic novel, was written by Kris Oprisko and illustrated by Ashley Wood. Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty Zero was written by Matt Fraction and illustrated by Ashley Wood. And Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty was written by Alex Garner and once again illustrated by Ashley Wood. What we will be taking a look at in this review is the Metal Gear Solid Omnibus, and it was published by IDW. Metal Gear Solid has been one of my most beloved games since I was young. I can remember playing it over and over and over again until I knew almost every nook and cranny of the game. Even to this day, I can load it up and play through it without skipping a beat. The graphics, the story, the setting, and the characters are all burned into my memory. So while visiting a comic book store, I noticed graphic novelizations of Metal Gear, and there was no way I was going to pass on them. The story of Metal Gear was originally conceived by the highly respected and prolific video game director Hideo Kojima. If you couldn't tell by that introductory sentence, I really admire Mr. Kojima. I have somewhat of a small collection of things from Metal Gear, such as video games, figures, strategy guides, the Yoji Shinkawa art collection, and I even bear the Kojima Productions logo on my arm. And yes, this is the only tattoo I have. I feel at this point talking about the story of the Metal Gear series has been done and has been told by people who can tell the story in a more eloquent way than I ever could. They probably have a way better understanding of the story as well, so I think for the sake of this review, I'm just going to skip that part. Really, the main thing that you need to know is that Snake is a motherfucking super ninja fight shoot man and he is the most badass mother trucker out there, yeah! Excuse me, sorry about that. In this case, the graphic novel stories told by the three writers in the series seem to follow Kojima's tellings very closely, only adding in small sections of the story to build in more character arcs and to make it work in a literary medium. It's a fairly well-known fact that Kojima's stories are pretty convoluted and aren't for everyone. But I find that the writers of this series did a pretty damn good job of making it understandable and making it flow in a way that works for a graphic novel style of storytelling. As I mentioned before, Ashley Wood is the illustrator of these graphic novels. Throughout the series, Ashley Wood's illustrations switch between three different styles, even switching styles from panel to panel to fit the mood of the story. Flowing from scenes that look almost identical to the PS1 game graphics to the harsh and beautiful lines of Yoji Shinkawa, right back to Ashley's angular and ink-heavy designs. Ashley's style is also so unique that sometimes it's difficult to tell whether he's using paints, inking, or even doing it digitally. Even his use of words in the panels just make the whole thing feel so action-packed. If you couldn't tell, I'm also a giant fan of Ashley Wood's work. I really suggest that you check out Ashley's other work, Robots vs. Zombies vs. Amazons. It's awesome. To be honest, other than the man himself, Yoji Shinkawa, I have a hard time thinking of who else could have possibly illustrated this graphic novel. In my opinion, Ashley Wood was the best choice they could have made to make this graphic novel. Now, I will say this, the action scenes aren't as epic and elaborate as you would expect. Most of the time, they end up just Snake blasting someone with the SOCOM and it's done. But I guess it really couldn't have the same epic battle feel considering the video game makes the boss fight so intense. If you think about it, Solid Snake, Gray Fox, Raiden, and even Meryl are the most highly trained and suitable people for this job. So in reality, their battles with these bosses would really just be them blasting their way through and then carrying on their merry little way. So really, in my opinion, it's a touch disappointing, but the action is still satisfying. One thing that I noticed about our hero Solid Snake is that he has a touch more personality in the graphic novel than he does in the video games. He's fairly stoic and doesn't really have that much cheesy one-liners. But in this graphic novel, I feel he's fairly mouthy and much more cocky. Though I must say, they kept my favorite line from the video game in the graphic novel, and that's, "I'll die after I kill you." There is an issue that I have with this Omnibus edition, or my Omnibus edition in particular, and that is after the first 20 pages or so, it seems that the binding has separated. I feel like this started happening the moment I purchased it. Maybe it's a factory flaw, or maybe I just didn't treat the binding properly, but even after reading it this time, it seems to have gotten worse. I don't often read this graphic novel, but it has become more of a shelf piece at this point, and it's just a smaller piece of my Metal Gear Solid collection. Overall, I think it's a great retelling of the story, and if you haven't already noticed, I've swooned over Ashley Wood's illustrations enough. But having the combination of an amazing video game story illustrated by an amazing artist is definitely worth holding on to, in my opinion. Hell, I'd probably even buy another copy of this when this one falls apart. I suggest any fan of Metal Gear should pick up this collection. For fans of the game, the story is fairly accessible, but if you're a newcomer to the Metal Gear series, you should probably play the games first. Then I suggest picking up this collection. I have to mention this. Also, through this review, I found that Ashley Wood had published an Art of Metal Gear Solid book. How did I not know about this? You know I'm gonna have to pick it up, and you know that it's gonna look great next to my Yoji Shinkawa collection. Total page count, 556. Total volumes, 24 issues or 1 omnibus edition. Total score, 3 out of 5. Thank you so much once again for watching my review. These times have been a little bit crazy, so I hope all of you are staying healthy and safe and getting by. This is something that I am passionate about, so thankfully I'm allowed to do it from the comfort of my home, but I still do have to go to work, so I hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy out there. This review is going to be accompanied by another video game series that I absolutely love that I have purchased the manga for. You could probably guess what it is, it's kind of obvious. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're staying happy, healthy, and safe. We'll catch you in the next episode. Love you all. Peace.